Om Sriman Sri Aurobindo Sharanam Om Sriman Sri Aurobindo Sharanam Om Sriman Sri Aurobindo Sharanam Om Sri Gurudeva Sharanam Om Sri Gurudeva Sharanam Om Sri Gurudeva Sharanam Om Paramasati Om Paramasanti Om Paramasanti Om Paramasuddhi Om Paramasuddhi Om Paramasuddhi Ma- Savitri, Book 1, Canto 2, The Issue. A while withdrawn in secret fields of thought, her mind moved in a many imaged past that lived again and saw its end approach. Dying, it lived imperishably in her, transient and vanishing from transient eyes, invisible, a fateful ghost of self. It bore the future on its pathom wrist. Along the flitting events' far backward trail, regressed the stream of the insistent hours, and on the bank of the mysterious flood, peopled with well loved forms now seen no more, and the subtle images of things that were her witness spirit stood reviewing time. All that she once had hoped and dreamed and been flew past her eagle winged through memory's skies as in a many hued flaming inner dawn, her life's broad highways and its sweet bypaths lay mapped to her sun clear recording view from the bright country of our childhood's days and the blue mountains of our soaring youth and the paradise groves and peacock wings of love. To joy closed under the silent shadow of doom in a last storm where heaven raised with hell 12 passionate months laid in a day of fate. An absolute supernatural darkness falls on man sometimes when he draws near to God. An hour comes when fail all nature's means, forced out from the protecting ignorance, and flung back on his naked primal need. He at length must cast from him his surface soul and be the ungarbed entity within. That hour had fallen now on Savitri, a point she had reached where life must be in vain, or in her unborn element awake. Her will must cancel her body's destiny, for only the unborn spirit's timeless power can leap the wake yoke imposed by births in time. Only the self that builds this figure of self can raise the fixed interminable line that joins these changing names, these numberless lives, these new oblivious personalities, and keeps still lurking in our conscious acts. The trail of old, forgotten thoughts and deeds disown the legacy of our buried selves. The burdensome here sheave to our vanished forms, accepted blindly by the body and soul. An episode in an unremembered tale, its beginning lost, its motive and plot concealed. A once living story has prepared and made our present fate child of past energies. The fixity of the cosmic sequences, fattened with hidden inevitable links, she must disrupt, dislodge by her soul's force, her past a block on the immortal's road. Make her raised, ground and safe anew her fate, a collective of the original gods meeting upon the borders of the unknown, her soul's debate with embodied nothingness must be wrestled out on a dangerous, dim background. Her being must confront its formless cause against the universe, weigh its single self on the bare peak, where self is alone with naught and life has no sense and love, no place to stand. She must plead her case upon extinction's verge. In the world's death cave of old life's helpless claim, and vindicate her right to be and love. Altered must be nature's harsh economy, acquaintance she must wean from her past bond. An old account of suffering exhaust, strike out from time the soul's long compound debt, and the heavy servitudes of the karmic gods, the slow revenge of unforgiving law, and the deep need of universal pain, and hard sacrifice and tragic consequence. Out of her timeless barrier, she must break, penetrate with her thinking depths, the void's monstrous hush, look into the lonely eyes of immortal death, and with her nude spirit measure the infinite night. The great and dolorous moment now was close, a mailed battalion marching to its doom. The last long days went by with heavy tramp, long but too soon to pass, too near the end alone, amid the many faces loved. I were among unknowing happy hearts. Her armored spirit kept watch upon the hours, listening for a first tremendous step in the closed beauty of the inhuman wheels, a combatant in silent, dreadful lists, the world unknowing, for the world she stood. No helper had she save the strength within. There was no witness of terrestrial eyes. The gods above and nature's soul below were the spectators of that mighty strife. Around her were the astry sky pointing hills and the green murmurous, broad, deep thoughted woods muttered incessantly their muffled spell. A dense, magnificent color, self-wrapped life, wrapped in the leaves, vivid, emerald, monotone, and set with checkered sunbeams and bleed flowers, immured her destiny's scheduled, secluded scene. Their heart she grown to the stature of her spirit, the genius of titanic silences, steeping her soul in its wide loneliness, had shown to her herself's bare reality and matted her with her environment. Its solitude greatened her human hours with a background of the eternal and unique. A force of bare direct necessity reduced the heavy framework of man's days and his overburdening mass of outward needs to a fast, thin strip of simple animal wants, and the mighty wideness of the primitive earth and the brooding multitude of peasant trees and the musing sapphire lizard of the sky and the solemn weight of the slowly passing months had left in her deep room for thought and God. There was her drama's radiant prologue lived, a spot for the eternal street on earth set in the cholesterol yearning of the woods and watched by the aspiration of the peaks, appeared through an aureate opening in time, where stillness listening felt the unspoken word, and the hours forgot to pass towards grief and change. Here, with the suddenness, divine advents have repeating the marble of the fast descent, changing to rapture the dull earthly round. Love came to her, hiding the shadow death. Well might he find in her his perfect shrine, since fast the earth brings heavenward growth began through all the long ordeal of the race. Never a rarer creature bore his sapped that burning taste of the Godhead in our parts, a lightning from the heights on our abyss, in all in her pointed to a nobler kind, near to earth's wideness, intimate with heaven, exalted and swept her young large vision spirit, voicing through worlds of splendor and of calm, overflew the wage of thought to unborn things. Adent was her self poised, unstumbling will, her mind a sea of white sincerity, passionate in flow, had not one turbid wave, as in a mystic and dynamic dance, a priest of immaculate ecstasies, inspired and ruled from truth's revealing vault, moves in some prophet cavern of the gods, a heart of silence in the hands of joy, inhabited with rich creative bits, a body like a parable of dawn that seemed a niche for veiled divinity or golden temple door to things beyond. Immortal rhythms swayed in her time-born steps, her look, her smile awoke celestial sense, even in earth stop and their intense delight. Poured a supernal beauty on men's lives. A wide self-giving was her native act, a magnanimity as of sea or sky, involved with its greatness, all that came and gave a sense as of a greatened world. Her kindly care was a sweet, temperate son. Her high passion of blue heavens equipoised as might a soul fly like a hunted bind, escaping with tired wings from a world of storms, and a quiet reach like a remembered beast in a heaven of safety and splendid soft repose. One could drink life back in streams of honey fire, recover the lost habits of happiness, fill her bright nature's glorious ambience, and preen joy in her warmth and colors rule. A deep of compassion, a heart sanctuary, her inward help unbarred, a gate in heaven, love in her was wider than the universe. The whole world could take refuge in her single heart. The great unsatisfied Godhead here could dwell, vacant of the dwarf self's imprisoned air. Her mood could harbor his sublimer breath, spiritual that can make all things divine. For even her goals were secrecies of light. At once she was the stillness and the word, a continent of self diffusing peace, an ocean of untrembling virgin fire. The strength, the silence of the gods were hers. In her he found a vastness like his own. His high, warm, subtle author he refound and moved in her as in his natural home. In her he met his own eternity. Till then, no mournful line had bared this ray on the frail breast of this precarious earth, since her odd sight in its breath fastened house opening in sympathy with happier stars, where life is not exposed to sorrowful change. Remembered beauty, death claimed, leaves ignored, and wondered at this world of fragile forms carried on canvas strips of shimmering time. The impunity of unborn mites was hers, although she leaned to bear the human load. Her walk kept still the measure of the gods. Earth's breath had failed to stain that brilliant glass, unsmeared with the dust of our mortal atmosphere. It still reflected heaven's spiritual joy. Almost they saw who lived within her light. Her playmate in the spent, spenti, spentiternal spears descended from its unattainable realms in her attracting advent's luminous wake. The white fire dragon, bird of endless bliss, drifting with burning wings above her days, heaven's tranquil sailed, guarded the mission child, a glowing orbit was her yearly turn. Years like gold remnant of the gods that pass, her youth sat throned in calm felicity. But joy cannot endure until the end. There is a darkness in terrestrial things that will not suffer long to glad a note on her to close the in inescapable hand, the armed immortal bore the snare of time, one dealt with her who meets the burden great, assigner of the ordeal and the path, who chooses in this holocaust of the soul, death, fall, and sorrow as the spirit's gods. The dubious Godhead, with his torch of pen, lit up the chasm of the unfinished world, and called her to fill with a vast self the abyss. August and pitiless in his calm outlook, heightening the eternal's dreadful strategy, he measured the difficulty with the might and dug more deep the gulf that all must cross, assailing her divinest elements. He made her heart kin to the striving human heart and forced her strength to its appointed road. For this she had accepted mortal breath to wrestle with the shadow she had come and must confront the riddle of man's birth and life's brief struggle in dumb matter's night, whether to bear with ignorance and death, or hew the wage of immortality, to win or lose the godlike game for man, was her soul's issue thrown with destiny's dice. But not to submit and suffer was she born. To lead, to deliver was her glorious part. Here was no fabric of terrestrial make, fit for days used by busy, careless powers. An image fluttering on the screen of fate, half animated for a passing show or a castaway on the ocean of desire, flung to the eddies in a ruthless spot, and tossed along the gulfs of circumstance, a creature born to bend beneath the walk, a cattle and a plaything of time's lords, or one more pawn who comes destined to be pushed. One slow move forward on a measureless board in the chess play of the earth soul with doom. Such is the human figure drawn by time. A conscious frame is here, a self-born force in this enigma of the dusk of God. This slow and strange uneasy compromise of limiting nature with a limitless soul, where all must move between an ordered chance and an uncaring blind necessity. Too high, the fire spiritual dare not blaze. If once it met the intense original flame, an answering torch might shatter all measures made, and earth sink down with the weight of the infinite. A goal is this immense material world. Across each road stands, armed a stone-eyed law. At every gate, the huge dim sentinels pace, a grey tribunal of the ignorant, an inquisition of the prayers of night. In judgment, sit on the adventurer's soul, and the dual tables and the karmic norm restrain the titan in us and the god. Pain with its lash, joy with its silver, brave, guard the wheels circling immobility. A bond is put on the high climbing mind, a seal on the too large, wide open heart. Death stays the journeying discoverer. Life, this is the throne of the inconscient shape, while the taddy coilings of the ions pass, and the animal browses in the sacred fence, and the gold hawk, can cross the skies no more. But one stood up and lit the limitless flame, arraigned by the dark power that hates all bliss in the dire court where life must pay for joy, sentenced by the mechanic justiciar to the afflicting penalty of man's hopes. Her head she bowed not to the stark decree, bearing her helpless heart to destiny's stroke. So was and must the mind born will in man, obedient to the statutes fixed of old, admitting without appeal the nether gods in her, the superhuman cast its seed, inapt to fold its mighty wings of dream. Her spirit refused to hog the common soil, or finding all life's golden meanings robbed, compound with earth, struck from the starry list, or quench with black despair the God given light. Accustomed to the eternal and the true, her being conscious of its divine founts, asked not from mortal frailty, pain's relief, passed not with failure, bargain, or compromise. A work she had to do, a word to speak, writing the unfinished story of her soul. In thoughts and actions graved in nature's book, she accepted not to close the luminous page, cancel her commerce with eternity, or set a signature of weak assent to the brute balance of the world's exchange, a force in her that toiled since earth was made, accomplishing in life the great world plan, pursuing after death immortal aims, repugned to admit frustration's barren role, for forfeit the meaning of our birth in time, obey the government of the casual fact, or yield her high destiny up to passing chance. In her own self she found her high recourse. She matched with the iron law her sovereign right. Her single will opposed the cosmic rule. To stay the wheels of doom, this greatness rose. At the unseen's knock upon the hidden gates, her strength made greater by the lightning's touch, awoke, awoke from slumber in her heart's recess. It bore the stroke of that which scales and saves across the awful march no eye can see, bearing its dreadful root no will can change. She faced the engines of the universe. A heart stood in the way of the driving wheels, its giant workings paused in front of a mind, its stark conventions met the flame of a soul. A magic leverage suddenly is caught that moves the veiled ineffable's timeless wheel. A prayer, a master act, a king idea can link man's strength to a transcendent force. Then miracle is made the common rule. One mighty deed can change the course of things. A lonely thought becomes omnipotent. All now seems nature's masked missionary, an endless servitudes to material rule, and long determination's rigid chain, her firm and changeless habits, aping law, her empire of unconscious depth, devise, annul the claim of man's free human will. He too is a machine amid machines. A piston brain pumps out the shapes of thought. A beating heart cuts out emotions, modes, and insentient energy fabricates a soul, or the figure of the world reveals the signs of a tired chance, repeating her old steps in circles around matter's binding post. A random series of inept events to which origin lends elusive sense is here, or the empiric life's instinctive such or a vast ignorant mind's colossal work, but wisdom comes and vision grows within. Then nature's instrument crowns himself for king. He feels his witnessing self and conscious power. His soul steps back and sees the light supreme. A Godhead stands behind the brute machine. This truth broke in a triumph of fire. A victory was won for God in man. The deity revealed its hidden face. The great world mother now in her arose, a living choice reversed, fate's cold dead torn, affirmed the spirit's trade on circumstance, praised back the senseless dire revolving wheel, and stopped the mute march of necessity. A flaming warrior from the eternal peaks, empowered to force the door denied and closed, smote from death's visage its dumb absolute, and burst the bounds of conscience and time. Ma. Om Sriman Sri Aurobindo Sharanam Om Sriman Sri Aurobindo Sharanam Om Sriman Sri Aurobindo Sharanam Om Sri Guru Deva Sharanam Om Parama Santi Om Parama Santi Om Parama Santi Om Parama Shuddhi Om Parama Shuddhi Om Parama Shuddhi